All right, we're going to see if this works. We should. It should work. I'm basically going to just assume it's working. So, hello and welcome. Hey, it is totally working. Yes. Okay. Hello and welcome. Back to another live paint and chat. I'm Miranda, and I'll be hanging out and painting some stuff with you tonight. But you may have noticed that there is another person in this chat. I have Eric, who you may know if you ever followed the channel Counterslam, and he is also one of the founding members of a new convention coming to us in 2020 called Indy Storm. Welcome, Eric.
Yep.
Did I do that right?
Yep, I think so.
Oh, excellent.
I didn't hear anything wrong, so it's all good.
Okay, good. So, I'm just going to be painting, but I'm going to leave Eric to do the chatting about how Indy Storm works. But first, we're going to say hello to everybody in the chat because they're all my friends, and this is how I get my hobbying done anymore. Paul, welcome, man. He's my awesome moderator. What is it, 9 hours? 7 or 9 hours ahead in England, so he's up at like 2:30 in the morning while he does this. War Veggies, hey, welcome, man. Jay Alexander, welcome. Craig, welcome. Samuel, welcome. Patrick, good to see you, man. So many people. I love all you guys. Okay, so definitely still tell me what all you're working on tonight, but as we come to the end of the year, which is still freaking me out, it's time to start planning for stuff in 2020, and a lot of the conventions are kind of hitting right off the bat. I guess the earliest one technically for Wargaming is still going to be LVO, but you guys are right after that, and that's in Indianapolis, so you guys are well, located, I guess, for people who kind of live in that area already and may not be able to travel quite as far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are the crossroads of America and home of Gen Con, so we didn't start Gen Con, but where it's at now. And, it's so, yeah, we're used to having gamers out here. And I think that's one of the big appeals for Indy Storm is the fact that we had to create a convention that's on the exact opposite side of the year. Mm-hmm. So that way we don't cause any chaos between us and Gen Con. We don't want to do that. But at the same time offer some a place for people to war game here, where we're used to gaming. And since we're, right in the heart of the Midwest, if you're going through the Midwest, you're going to cut through Indiana somewhere. So it's just kind of made sense to have it here. And, it's cheap to fly here. It's, and it's worked out pretty good so far. But yeah, this is our inaugural year for Indy Storm 2020. And it is going to be the week after LVO, if I understand exactly when it is supposed to be.
Okay.
And which actually puts us at Super Bowl weekend. So, and what's really funny is when we were booking this event with the hotel coordinator, she's like, "Oh, is that going to be a problem with being, the same weekend as Super Bowl?" And I was like, "Ma'am, we're nerds. This is our Super Bowl." So,
so you might have a viewing party or announcement for the normies.
And technically, the convention will be over before, so you could come play your games, get all your gaming in, and then afterwards go, we'll have TVs all over the place. You can, you'll have a TV in your room if you want to, or in the bar. There's restaurants that all have TVs. So yeah, the game will not be hard to find there at our, so.
Nice. Okay. Well, and being home to Gen Con, I imagine there's plenty of hotels to select from if you're staying there. Now, are you guys doing any sort of block reservations for the hotel there?
Yes, the Wyndham, there is a block there, and I believe the room nights are, I think, $110 a night. It's a pretty good rate, and you can register for the hotel on our website, indystorm.net, and hotel's ready to go. We're already selling tickets. We're booking vendors, sponsors, the whole 9 yards. It's overwhelming.
Got it. Running stuff isn't so hard. You just panic for most of it, and then suddenly it all comes together, and then you wonder why you don't do it all the time.
Yeah, I told my partners for Indy Storm, because I'm used to running it's kind of in Vegas and Orlando and different places. It kind of goes all over the place. Mm-hmm. But every year when we do the convention, everybody waits until the last minute to sign up. So I'm trying to talk to my partners and let them know, hey, don't panic yet. Like if we don't start selling tickets yet, don't panic. I was like, wait until like, mid-January. If we don't start selling by then, it's like, then we can maybe start panicking together. I was like, but just from previous experience, I was like, everybody waits to the last minute to sign up. And but
That's
yeah, we've
true.
got, and one thing to kind of incentivize people to sign up a little bit early, the first 50 people to sign up and register, plus get their hotel room, actually get sort of an upgraded swag bag. So
Ooh.
it'll be kind of neat. We're gonna have we're actually still getting things for the swag bag from different companies that they want to include. So it should be pretty good. Um, and
Well,
I've been really happy with the way that a lot of the gaming companies and communities have really um, rallied behind Indie Storm because they've donated a lot of prize support. They've donated a lot of people. I'm still getting texts. I just got one I think 5 minutes ago of another vendor who to try to, or not a vendor, I'm sorry, but someone else who wants to, try and bring another game to Indie Storm. And I think we're at like 18 or 19 games, different games right
different
now.
games? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's filling up really fast, and I have a feeling that after this year, it's gonna only get bigger. We have most of the first floor of the hotel, the Wyndham Hotel, right now, but next year we're gonna have the whole first floor and whatever else they got. We're probably gonna be
That's how they usually work. It just get bigger and
knocking down
bigger.
doors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that'll
yeah.
be good.
So we're excited for it. I think I know a lot of people who watched Counterslam, the show we used to do, are probably wondering what we've been up to. Um, I'm just not somebody who can really sit still for very long, so I've always got to be doing something, and I just want to do something that's exciting for me, something that I would want to attend. It started off as just a few guys who were like, "Hey, why don't we have a War Machine convention here in Indy?" And it just kind of it was like, okay, well, how about War Machine and Malifaux? Like War Machine, Malifaux, and okay, and then well, what about and we as we were talking to different game communities, everyone's like, oh, you got to have this. Oh, you got to have this game. Oh, you got to have this game. And I'm like, well, who's going to run these games? And they're like, oh, we'll totally run it. You're good. Just set it up. We'll run it. I'm like, oh, okay. So,
Sounds good. Yeah, no, it's awesome. You get like excited people to run that stuff. Here, I'm gonna pull up the website for people who are checking it out because it's Indy INDY Storm.
yeah,
Yeah, gaming convention. There it is. See, guys. So this isn't just like a big stream to plug Indie Storm. However, turns out I'm going, so I have to plug it a little bit because I'm excited because I haven't been to a debut convention before.
we got to have celebrities. So we got Wargamergirl. Like it was the best celebrity we could get for this thing.
Yeah, there you go.
But
I know how to play games. I'll play 40K and War Machine, and it looks like you guys are gonna have Aristea there. I enjoy that one.
Mm-hmm.
Settlers of Catan. Let's have a Settlers of Catan party.
And the Settlers of Catan thing, I don't know if it should say on when you go to register for the event, it kind of what the event is. Like if you win the Settlers of Catan event, I think you win a ticket for like some world tournament or gaming thing. Like it's crazy. Like that's kind of like what we're getting from these companies. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this big thing. Like whoever wins is gonna get a plane ticket to go to this other thing, like this other tournament. I'm like, what in the world? So, so Settlers of Catan is actually one of the things that's pretty cool.
Jeez, yeah, they got really good support. I mean, I guess it makes sense. The game's enormous. Let's just
yeah. Well, there's a one of the first games to sell out at Gen Con this year was a Cthulhu role playing game, and we're in the talks with the company who ran that. And they want to do an event at Indie Storm, so we're trying to move stuff around so they can have their own room to actually run it, because they run, I guess, all kinds of special effects, and they bring all kinds of props and things like that, and so it's a really big deal. And so we're gonna be doing that. I think we're even gonna do some Dungeons and Dragons. Like we're gonna have laser tag there. We're gonna have
okay, you got battle tech there. Half of Albuquerque's gonna show up for that one.
Yeah. We're gonna have like there's a one
Dust.
of the,
You got Dust. Very nice. I just started getting into that one.
The Star Trek bridge simulator thing.
Artemis.
We're gonna have an Artemis room there. So
Artemis is so fun.
We're gonna have a board game library, which is kind of funny because there's gonna be a bunch of tables for people to sort of like rent out or borrow board games from one of the companies that's gonna be there. And my twin brother is going to be there. He's going to be actually showcasing off a board game that we made, a family game. It's like a trick-or-treating board game.
I'm going to confuse you guys so bad. It's just going to be the worst.
It's the easiest way to tell a story right now. I grew out of this facial hair. My brother's not allowed to have facial hair at work, so that's the easiest way to tell him.
It's I'm actually really bad at remembering even that on people, so I'm just going to be like, Eric, why aren't you answering?
we're used to answering by each other's names. I go. My brother's name is Chris. I go Chris. The people just call me Chris. I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's fine.
Fair enough. So you've got Age of Sigmar and Star Wars X-Wing and Malifaux 3rd edition, which I haven't tried yet, but you have.
Yep, I have. I've been playing Malifaux. I've been playing Marvel Crisis Protocol, which we're gonna have. Isn't I don't even know if that's even on the front page of the website, but that's been getting really big here in Indy. So we're gonna do some Crisis Protocol too, and it's a fun game. I think it debuted at Gen Con, or at least they kind of announced it there.
Yeah.
And it's really neat. And coming from the War Machine background, I know some of the people who previously worked for Privateer Press have done a lot of the sculpting for the models. So like Hulk and Venom and things like that, which people have been buying and playing. It's they're made by people that we're familiar with. So
what's the Rage Quit game?
The Rage Quit is not a game. The Rage Quit is we actually get so when the hotel booked us, they said that we could actually create one alcoholic drink for our convention, and we created one called the Rage Quit, because we figured if you lose really bad, you might want to rage quit. You might want to just be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get a drink. I'll be right back.
Oh my gosh, so professional, Eric. Anyway,
sweet. My phone's gonna be blowing up. It's already blowing kinds of stuff. So
right, real quick then, 3-day event, January something. I had it on the first one.
January 31st to February 2nd. Yes, it's the last weekend of January, first weekend of February.
Nice.
Just the Super Bowl weekend. Just go with that. But
that doesn't mean anything to me. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Yay!
Me neither. It's funny. I live in Indianapolis, and when the year the Colts won the Super Bowl, I was literally sitting in a Easy Boy drawing, and I was like looked up from the TV. I'm like, oh, that's great, we won. I didn't even care. But
our viewers,
this is our Super Bowl. So.
Our viewers have some comments on it, quite a bit actually. Let me go back through them here.
We thought about actually making Indy, because it's sort of around the time of the Super Bowl, actually making it where every major game has like a team tournament where you option. So like 40K has a team tournament, War Machine has a team tournament, Malifaux's team, like trying to do all that stuff too. But I don't know if we'll get to that point, but we might do something to try and encourage these games to do that. Might be kind of cool. So
are you going to have a painting competition?
We're going to have a painting competition. We actually have some people on site. Some people maybe familiar with Jose Castillo. He was part of Counter Slam. He won Gen Con's painting competition, not this year, but the previous year. He won, I think, best painted model for, I believe it was just for like overall Gen Con and the Privateer Press booth. Like I think he won first place in both. And so him and there's another gentleman named Kevin that are going to be doing painting classes there we're going to have a separate room for painting classes, so people can learn from these guys, and
nice.
It's going to be pretty cool. So and Jose loves to teach people how to paint. He keeps trying to sit down and teach me how to paint, and I love painting, but I can't get that into it. But he gets like really into it. He people who met Jose, like he like stopped playing War Machine for like almost 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Because all he did was take painting classes. He went to Adepticon and did not play a single game like 2 years in a row. He just went strictly for the painting lessons and doing like one-on-one painting sessions like that. And he wanted to win Privateer Press's gold so bad. And when last year when he won it, I was like super proud of this dude. I was like, that is awesome.
Well, yeah, because you watched sort of the arc of his growth there. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, so definitely some painting competition there, War by G's. And Patrick had asked if you've talked with Greg Shoemaker. He works at the Game Preserve and was huge on War Machine in Indy. Is that War Horse?
Yeah, I know Greg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know Greg.
So I don't know if he's gonna be there, but they threw his name out there.
Yeah, we've got. I think one of the guys running War Machine stuff is Andrew Cook is going to be doing it, because we're actually going to have, if we can get the 32 players signed up, which I think for War Machine, it'll actually be an Iron Gauntlet qualifier, so people can play in that and get registered for the Iron Gauntlet, which is kind of cool. So
nice. Gonna have to brush up on my own skills then.
We're gonna have for War Machine. We're gonna have a caster draft. We're gonna do some scrambles and there's a team tournament, a 3-man team tournament for that as well. So.
Oh, okay, nice. I know you haven't been playing War Machine so much lately, but did you hear about their new game, the Warcaster?
The Warcaster game? Oh man, yes. I when they announced that, I was like, I had a game like that.
Okay, so I don't know what's going on. Discord keeps censoring you periodically, so you're like, I don't know what happened, but you totally went blank. Yeah.
Oh man. Maybe it's because I'm saying like wargaming. Is it?
No, I don't think so. Gosh, I don't think YouTube's that on it just yet. Lord.
I hope not. They're like really paying attention. They're like censor.
Yeah, they're watching my channel, I'm sure. But so you were excited about it then, the Warcaster stuff?
Oh yeah. Like I that's one of the reasons why I love the caster draft so much. Like and to be brutally honest, if you're gonna play in the caster draft, you need to play Convergence. Like hands down. If you don't play Convergence,
I can't play sociopaths. They're evil, objectively. I've read their lore. They're evil.
You want me to tell you how to win caster draft? Because I've played a caster.
Okay, tell me.
You pick your Warcaster because it's like a random Warcaster, and your base stats are already like there's Mat 6, Rat 6, and that's already better than most of the Convergence casters anyway, because most of them are like 5, 6 or 4, 6 or so you 5, 5s, that type of thing. Sure. So when you get a 6, 6 caster, you're already, so what happens is you get the decks and you're passing the cards around and you're picking different abilities, you're picking different spells, you're picking different weapons, all things like that, your feats and stuff. What you do is you go for the Mat and Rat, because what you do is you get even +2 Mat and +2 Rat. You're an 8/8, and all your Warjacks are XX. They're right. The Mat and Rat of your caster.
They follow that, yeah.
I did that, and I picked like Ashland's feats, I think, in the game when we were passing the cards around, and it was almost useless. Like I didn't even need it. All my jacks were Mat and Rat 8 anyway, so they just, and I took 2, because I think it was only like a 50-point list. I took 2 of the prime confluxes. So my the prime axioms, 2 prime axioms, the one with the harpoons and the drills and So they're Mat and Rat 8, just Rat. It's like Iron Mother's feet. The entire game, the entire tournament.
That sounds fun to play against.
Really broken. So I'm just telling you, if you're gonna play Convergence, because it's ridiculous.
Not gonna do it. I saw that comment, Twisted Bishop. He said, "Can't play sociopaths. When did you quit Khador?" So. Khador are not sociopaths. They are patriots, okay? So they're very loyal to the motherland, and they obviously appreciate being alive and human, unlike Convergence.
What's so good about being human? Now, come on, you didn't even tell me.
Ask Nemo. He's pretty in love with it. I actually dislike the fact that they're making like that Convergence Nemo. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, the battle engine. I've been keeping up with the CID for Convergence, even though I don't play them anymore. Like having Asphyxius there, I love the way the model looks. I may pick up the model just to paint it. Like Asphyxius was one of my favorite casters when I played Crix, and to see him going into Convergence. Then you got the theme list where you can play Morton Nebra, which was one of my favorite casters. Like I love the version 2 of her where she's like the centipede looking thing, and oh man. I picked a terrible time to get out of Convergence because I love all the way the models look, the new ones.
Nice. Let me respond to this here quick. I don't know, man. Every time I play some other faction, I just want to go back to Khador, except for Grimkin, which I just genuinely have fun doing because it's so creative. Whenever you play Grimkin, you're like, oh wait, I could do this instead of. I just don't feel that way, I guess, with the other factions. So.
Yeah, that's the one thing I liked about Convergence Convergence, with being able to pass the focus around and kind of like there were just little things, having the Mat and Rat caster and having the different abilities that your caster gave all your jacks. Each caster had a different one, and I loved all that stuff about it because it was just different, And Grimkin is really the same way, like being able to pick your different arcana, at the beginning of every game, and you can kind of tailor it however you need to, and the models look really creepy and they're cool. I mean, you got pumpkin-headed.
Yeah, the little dread rats and Skin and Moans running around.
Skin and Moans, man.
A Nave Slayer. Oh my gosh, there's so many good models in that faction. It just makes me so happy.
The who's the solo guy with the
Longfellow. Lord
Longfellow? Yeah.
Longfellow, yeah.
What a cool looking guy! A spider wearing a mask. Oh, yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, and he's got interesting lore too. Like when you read about the Grimkin, they are like, they're actually not bastards. You know, they're not big. They're kind of jerks-ish. They're bad people who are now sent back into the world to like stop bad souls, and it's just like I don't know. That part appealed to me too. Whereas again, Convergence just selfish pricks.
Yeah. Oh, come on. We're going to be saving the Iron Kingdom.
No, converting everybody away from humanity is not saving them. It's just not how it works. It's like saying you're siding with Skynet, okay? Like, no, you're not.
I for one, welcome our new robot over.
Well, not their new movies. Yeah. Anyway, so speaking of random models, to kind of veer away a little bit, I am painting a MiniCrate model. So Privateer has the MiniCrates that have been coming out for, a year now? And I've been getting the last few. Right. So I've been getting the last few of them over the months. And so this one is Little Fenris. So you can kind of see he's sitting on a dead horse with a stick up his butt. I think he's sliding down the stick here. And he's a little weird chibi Fenris, which is the only Fenris model I own because I don't play Crazy Khador. So we're gonna paint him up tonight. We're gonna work on that. See if I can't make him look decent on a little 30mm base. So he's the obviously dismounted version because his horse is dead. Turns out.
So to talk about kind of cutesy little things for War Machine. For War Machine players, I believe they're going to be prizes. I'm not sure where exactly we're going to give them out yet. One of my co-owners, Tom, is kind of handling that. We got a couple years ago we had a Who's the Boss tournament here in Indianapolis, and Privateer Press actually came out for that event.
Oh, nice.
And one of the people who was running the event, they helped work with Privateer Press to create their own pin for the game, and we probably had 25 to 30 players out there, and each person got one of the pins when they signed up, and they only made 100 of those pins, and you only got them if you played at that event. So the person who had them donated them to us to be able to give out at this convention. So if you're gonna be there, you're gonna play War Machine. It is a chibi Lanissa pin, which you can see here.
Little further into your face there, a little closer to your face.
Oh.
There we go, chibi. Sorry, yeah. I've got your image cropped, so.
Oh, that's fine. So we got this little chibi pin, and it looks really cool. It's pretty neat. So that's something we can get, and and I got one set aside for you. It says for Miranda. It's in my terrible handwriting.
Yay.
So we'll set that aside for you, so you can make sure you get one.
I appreciate that. Admittedly, not in love with the whole chibi thing, but I do like that pin. That does look really cool. And pins are pretty.
We also got one of the things they also donated for us for the convention. One of the boxes with the Haley 3 boxes.
Oh, cool. Nice. Well, that'd be cool.
So we got that. Yeah, there's I think a Crick's battle engine that they don't. A unit of Blood Gorgers, and there's just a ton of stuff. So.
Jeez. Well, it sounds like you guys will have some awesome support, and then. So I don't know. What should I do there? Should I try one of the tournaments? I haven't been in a tournament in a while. Just throw myself in there. Just.
You should probably, to be honest, the team tournaments are really fun. The team tournaments and the caster draft to me are really good.
I would need a teammate. How do I find a teammate?
Well, you have to get 2 teammates. It's a 3-man. So.
I don't have that many friends.
I'm sure I could put together a team for you. You'll do fine.
Just stick me with some people. Like, hey guys, I'm your teammate. Good to see you. Happy to be part of this. Just totally draft him.
My last 2 team tournaments I played in, my team won. One was a 5-man tournament, and one was a 3-man tournament. Ooh. And I can honestly, the 5-man one, I can say one of my games was kind of one of the deciding factors that sort of won us the whole thing.
Oh, I see.
But in the 3-man tournament, I did not win a single game, and we still got first place.
Wait a minute. What's it judged on? I mean, is it? It's
so when you play 3 players, it's so you each play your own individual, and if you win 2 out of the 3 of your games, your team advances.
Okay.
So, believe it or not, the funniest thing is the two players I had with me were both really good War Machine players, and one of them got like 4th place at Adepticon, things like that. So, but like one's an engineer, so like that. But what happened is we would go into a game and they would somehow pair me up with like their hardest player to beat.
Okay.
And so they would waste their time on me because I'm not as good as the other 2 guys. And so I would lose, and then my 2 teammates would win against their teammates. That's how we won. So
oh my goodness.
I don't have it up. I usually have it for my computer. I got this like gold coin for playing and getting first place, and I'm like, this feels so weird leaving and not winning a game. The gold coin. So
I was greater good right there.
I can't win, but I can pick a winning team. Let's do it. So
hey man, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah. And it's sort of, believe it or not, it is sort of a one of the dark horse things is learning how to pair your team up, like understanding where your strengths and weaknesses lie, and
I would listen to Muse on
who's
Minis.
best to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it really is that can be a huge deciding factor. And honestly, the guy who sort of did that because he was the guy who his name Tom, one of the guy who's helping me.
Yeah.
He like. He's an engineer and he's like obsessive about numbers and crunching also like that. So he was the one who in both team tournaments that put together he was sort of our team captain and sort of assigning who plays where and when, and just figured it out. So it was pretty cool.
I remember reading or listening to the podcast, I should say, about a lot of that stuff. It definitely is a huge part of War Machine. I don't know that I love that about the meta at all, but because a lot of it is knowing whose lists you're getting paired against versus your own strength and recognizing there's such a meta game to it.
Oh, it is. It's it's intimidating too. I mean, you go in and you're like, I can't beat that list, and they're like, well, you got to play that list. And it's like,
well, just fair warning, if I'm on a team tournament and I'm teamed up with anybody, like, obviously you know what I'm playing, and I'm just, I don't know. I'm not going to have much of an expectation. Be like, whatever, I'm going to throw it.
I've found that the team tournaments are fun regardless. And
that's good. It's definitely good.
Yeah.
Usually that does happen. I was pretty intimidated this last year at Adepticon when I did the double team tournament for 40K. And I was just playing with a friend of mine who his partner had dropped out, and he's like, I've got this sisters list, will you play it? I'm like, okay. And so we hung out in there for 10 hours. It was a freaking blast. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Like, everybody's just really friendly at a convention. So, and we actually did pretty well, even though we didn't win most of our games, because there were some crazy net lists there, and you know, I wasn't all that familiar with it, but we still did really well because you're judged on like the painting and your sportsmanship and you know, sticking around. So
yeah,
we did all that.
You didn't drop. Here's your trophy.
And that's a crappy thing to do. So don't do that.
Yeah. It's I don't know if you've ever played. Have you ever played a War Machine game where you and another player on the same table? Like you have in this format, it might be like 35 points each, where you play 35 points. Your teammate does, and you guys play on the same table at the same time. Oh man, those are really fun. Those are some of the best games. You can find all kinds of like combinations with casters that are like just stupid. Like someone might pick Krios 1 where his feet knocks everybody down, and then someone else has the tree where they're like, oh, if you're knocked down, you take an auto point of damage. You just wipe all the infantry off the table and your feet turn. That kind of thing. It gets really crazy. We start seeing like some of the combinations of casters. You know, you could do something with Sorsha where she, you know, freezes everybody on her feet, and then you've got, I don't know, someone that comes around and just shoots everything in play, and you just take everything out. It's really crazy.
Crazy power swings, if you will.
And I think for me personally, playing War, those were the team games, the 2 players, the who's the boss, the caster drafts. Like I got into all that stuff. I think to me that was way more fun than just playing a regular boring steamroller game. So. Oh
my gosh, I'm so sick of fighting over circles and rectangles. I know what you mean. Yeah, and I agree with that. Like the team, theoretically, this is a social game, right? I mean, so it's good to acknowledge that. Are you guys? Patrick mentioned. I think it was Patrick. Yeah, I mentioned a good point inadvertently. Are you guys welcoming cosplayers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people can cosplay. I don't know that we have any
It's probably too
any
early.
tournaments or anything.
Yeah, for that
Yeah,
yet, but
we definitely would. I mean, obviously that would be something that'd be great to have. I I love it. If people want to dress up, they're more than welcome to. We don't have any restrictions on anything like that, so
nice.
we're good with it.
We're
We're pretty open to almost anything at this point. So we'll try anything until it doesn't work, then we'll have to cut it. But right now we're good with
right
see
now
what
it's
we can
all
do.
on the table. What is a social game? Well, War Budgies. It's when you go to a nerd convention or a nerd retreat out in the mountains of Utah and hang out with people who you become friends with by the end of the week. You know a little bit about this. Or conventions, whatever. It's funny because I am curious with something like Gen Con. Obviously, they have, 65,000 people attending or something like that. You are not going to know most people by the end of it. But with something smaller, with a smaller convention, LVO to an extent I saw that with, but I do wonder if you'll have it with Indy Storm is because people will be in a convention room seeing, with a bunch of players with a similar interest for several hours. They'll probably see them later on in the convention, and I bet it's actually like a great way to meet some new people, locally or internationally or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna have all kinds of learn to play events. So if you want to come out and learn how to play, Aristea or I don't know if we have a learn to play for War Machine, but we got to learn to play for a lot of games.
Learn to play War Machine's a little rough. It's like here.
Yeah, it's hard to sit down and be like, oh.
Here's a blender. Let's stick your hand in it. It'll be about as fun as learning War Machine sometimes.
Crisis Protocol, Riot Quest, we're gonna have learn to play. The new Fallout game is going to have some learn to play.
Yeah, some people in the chat were excited about the Fallout stuff.
They gave us, so the company that does Fallout, they gave us literally one of every single model in the game to hand out as when you learn how to play, I think you just get to keep the models. It's nuts.
Wait a minute, is it Bethesda? Is it the game? Who owns the miniature game for Fallout?
Oh, I forget.
It's not the same one do the video game though.
No, it's something different. But
okay, gotcha. I was like, holy cow.
we're,
I'm glad that they have a miniature game. It seems like a smart move for them, especially after their little drama with Fallout 76.
Yeah.
People. So that's good. And this is actually a new release game, the Fallout one. Mm-hmm. There's so many new games. How do you even keep track of them anymore? Especially with all the skirmish levels.
I let somebody else keep track of for me, I get into the ones that I'm really interested in, things like Crisis Protocol, Malifaux, which I liked. It's one of those things that I'll just get into it. If I see it and I like it, I'll get into it. I don't. You can tell by my decor back here, I'm not hurting for funds, so I can try out new stuff. And if I don't like it, I can turn around and sell it. Or I picked up the new Batman miniatures game. I've played that a couple of times. It's a lot of fun.
My friend Aaron over at Cool Guys Nation is quite enjoying the Batman miniature game. And then
it's pretty cool.
There's another, well, maybe it was Crisis Protocol he's playing, because you said that's the one that you're throwing buildings and stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had the Hulk hit my Iron Man building. That was awesome. I was like, that never happened in War Machine.
No, that's true.
He hits me with a building and he literally takes the table, not okay. It's like, you just hit me with a building.
So just hearing it described, not sound terrible because those sound fun to me, but stereotypically, the way people describe Crisis Protocol absolutely sounds like the way a 10-year-old boy describes a comic book.
Yeah, it's great. I played my friend Jason, and my team was I had Ultron, Dr. Octopus, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and I think there's one other one. Oh man, I'm trying to think who it was. Crossbones. So I had that was my team, and it was weird because you can mix heroes and villains, and which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But it's what's cool about it is even though Iron Man gets hit with a building, that would technically one shot you. I'm gonna guess if you got hit with a building.
We've all played Final Fantasy. We know it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, little number pops above your head and you're fine.
Or you miss. You miss.
Yeah, miss. you know, the building's gone, but you missed.
Oh my gosh.
What it is like when your hero takes enough damage to say die, what happens is they become injured and they're stunned, and while they're stunned they actually can't be attacked until the next round. So but what happens is
this called plot armor?
I guess, but what happens is you lose all your hit points and then you flip the player card over and you have a damaged player card, and so someone being damaged, it might give you extra abilities or it might kind of mess with your stats a little bit. Like Captain America, when he's damaged or when he's injured, he actually has I could do this all day is one of the names of his abilities, and he is like almost impossible to kill at that point. It's ridiculous. Where the Hulk, for example, doesn't have a damaged side of his card. It's both sides are the same, but he has like 20 hit points where all the rest of them have like 6. So he's really hard to take off the table, but if you injure him, he just goes away. You don't have to worry about like flipping his card and doing another 20 damage.
Oh, I see.
To be broken at that point. But it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I'll probably be playing that at Indy Storm because I'll probably get the Crisis Protocol tables. So
I see.
Be broken at that point. But it's a lot of fun. We're gonna have, like I mentioned before, with the hotel rooms, they get the cool swag stuff. We're gonna try to have a family day on Sunday. So the room that has the Cthulhu role-playing game, they're actually not. I don't believe they're going to be there on Sunday. Okay. So that room is going to open up, and it's going to be able to bring in different events for kids. So if your family's there, we actually have 2 different types of badges for the event too, so people can get in there. And we're actually going to stay away from the lanyard badges. People are going to have bracelets. That's how you're going to tell what kind of badge you have. We have one's called a Storm Chaser badge, and this is like where a normal Indy Storm badge is like $20 to get in, and then you buy your events on top of that. A Storm Chaser badge is only $5, and it's for people who aren't necessarily going to be playing in any of the tournaments. So maybe you want to do the board game library or play laser tag or do the Star Trek Bridge Simulator. Then you only have to worry about having a Storm Chaser badge. You don't have to worry about spending a full $20 to do all that stuff.
Oh man, Artemis, that will be fun. I look forward to trying that again.
Yeah. So there's going to be competitive and casual events both. It's not just going to be hardcore, Iron Gauntlet qualifiers. It's going to be there are going to be some casual events, casual tournaments, scrambles, that type of thing. And we have a list of all the events we're doing. They're all available on. If you go to Indy Storm website and you go to event registration, it'll actually take you to a website called tabletops.events, and that's where we do all of our scheduling and where people buy their tickets and everything like that. So you can see all the list of events there and what times they are, how much it is. It's all on there.
Nice and organized. Well, it'll be on one floor, so it actually should be kind of easy to get around, I would think. So
yeah, and the what's really nice about that, if the Tabletop Events website is really cool because I believe that there's, from what I understand, there is either an app or something that you can download too for people when they attend, so you can see your schedule on your phone. You can see where you're supposed to be at which table, which time. It's for which ones you signed up for. It's really cool. Some of the other I'm trying to remember is it Dragon Con? I'm trying to think of Dragon Con. Something like Dragon Con. I know there's like that website. You can look at other conventions. There's like hundreds of conventions that use this website for scheduling things. So it's
gotcha.
They know what they're doing when it comes to scheduling events like this, which is neat. So.
Patrick was suggesting an Extreme Colossal Wrestling tournament. Remember that?
Wait, was it Extreme what?
Colossal Wrestling?
Oh, Colossal Wrestling. Yeah. Man, that didn't take off, did it? I
nope.
I never got a chance to even play.
But you know what did? What was it? Grind? Was it Grind? What the heck is it?
Grind, I remember, is Grind the one that has the
spiked ball? It's just a ball game. Yeah.
Spiked ball. I was gonna
and
say
then everybody
like,
played Guild Ball instead, but yeah.
They were like, does this work for Guild Ball?
Well, I think they came up with it first. I think the Grind, I don't remember. Grind is old, and then it's been out a while, and then everybody, I mean, it is what it is. It came out in no quarter, so. Let me get back through some of these comments. Someone was asking maybe contact Osprey Games to see if they want to show off their Gaslands or Frostgrave. Have you played either of those?
I have not, but we were contacted by them. I believe we are adding them to the list.
Ooh, well, there you go. Getting what you want already. Oh, this does not match. I just realized that little Fenris has nipple piercings, so that's awkward.
Are they old enough to get piercings? Come on.
Well, you know, it's the Iron Kingdoms. It's like the age of consent in Kador is probably like 7, so... Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm just like painting over. I'm like, what are these little points? Oh.
Look, you got the child going to war, right? She's like, what, 6, maybe? 5? I have a 5-year-old running around here. I know the temper tantrums they can have.
Well, see, and they seem pretty scary. The child is a little bit different. I mean, it's not quite the same. And little Fenris, I don't know if he's supposed to be like actual Fenris's spawn, because I imagine he gets around. It's possible. I don't know. He's got little Orgoth swords. These things are no joke. This guy's hilarious. Just, you know, when you start painting a model, you see more and more of the detail coming out.
Yeah, right? Oh, man. I love painting models.
Good times.
I wish I would have had my model painting the Batman models for the miniature game. I wish I would have had, but
dude, right?
I have been busy the past couple days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I gotta say, the one thing that I'm never bored. I always have something crazy going on.
Did you ever get into the traditional role-playing games, the pen and paper stuff?
I used to play Dungeons and Dragons a lot for second. Was it second edition? Oh my gosh. I think it was like 2.5
like
edition,
advanced,
2.5 or something like that.
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I played that in high school. I'm older than I look, but
no judgment.
I played Star Wars role-playing a couple of times. We played the Heroes Unlimited a couple of times. I didn't get a chance to play Rift. I really wanted to play Rift a lot, but nobody in my group was playing Rift at the time. So I did do some of the live action role.
Really?
White Wolf stuff. Yeah.
White Wolf. Okay.
I got suckered into a really good White Wolf game once. We were actually playing at a Star Trek convention, and
you're such a nerd.
Oh my gosh!
I love Star Trek.
Star Trek convention was like right down the street from.
Yeah.
In high school, and me and my friends would just rent out one hotel room. There'd be like 9 of us in one hotel room, and we would just take turns sleeping. But one year, the guys who were doing things called Indy by Night or Chicago by Night or something like that, like did this live action werewolf game, and we were like, oh, it was the Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah.
And they needed some people to play werewolves, and so we started playing, and it got really dumb, and we were like, okay, this is stupid. We're getting out of it. So me and my friend who were the werewolves, we quit playing. We just went back to our hotel room and just started, we were eating pizza, watching TV, and out of nowhere, someone knocks on the door, and we're like, okay, we look out the little eye hole, and there's like 20 people standing out in the hallway, and I'm like, what is this? So I open the door, and these people come in, and they're like, we need you to come back. We need you to come back as the werewolves. And we're like, why? And they're like, some of these vampires are like killing our game, and we need you to go in there and wipe all of them out. And they're like, okay. So they like made us like super powerful. We went through and just like the last 2, because I think it was 3 day? It was 2 or 3 day. Like the whole rest of the convention, all we did was go around and find creative ways to kill all these vampires as kind of like I guess kind of a revenge for them trying to ruin their game. It was amazing. It was like the best time I ever had.
Wow. All right, that is a pretty cool story. Dang, I wish I had cool stories like that. I always had to bully my way into those situations. I'm like, no, guys, I want to be part of this. Include me.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's kind of neat about Gen Con too, is you've got even if you're really into like one game, even like machine or 40K or something like that, like just walking around the whole time at Gen Con, like going to walk around trying out new games, they have huge ballrooms full of like, different companies will rent out huge ballrooms and they'll have like all their games played out. You can just go try them, and they have like a new board game creators area where you can go and learn how to make your own board games, and it's just it's
a golden age, so man. Stuff. It is a freaking golden age right now. It's crazy.
Have you ever been to Gen Con?
No.
Man, it's
yet.
Insane.
Maybe I'll, bully my way into crashing on your couch or something and be like, I want to go to Gen Con.
We got 2 couches, so if you guys need we're like
you only need half of one.
We're 10 minutes down the road from where Gen Con is, so
that's always the hardest part, is just being able to get a place to stay. As far
yeah,
from what I hear.
They sell out over a year in advance. You wanted to go next year, or the next time you could go to book a hotel room, you'd have to probably plan 2 years in advance. It's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's intimidating. It's why I haven't been to San Diego Comic-Con either, because I don't want to have that fight. And I've been to PAX back in 2012 in Washington, and they had like 65 or 60,000 in attendance that year. And it was bizarre. Like, just smooshing through people all the time was not my idea of fun.
And for the people who have been, I've been to both Gen Con and San Diego.
Yeah.
We ran the numbers. There are 3 times as many people at San Diego Comic-Con than there are at Gen Con. 3 times. And we were walking around Gen Con this last year, and I'm walking around, and my friend was with me who went with me. And I was like, can you see about 3 times as many people be in San Diego? And yep. It actually seemed less crowded trying to go through Gen Con than it did San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, I bring up the RPG part because J. Alexander Douglas in the chat said he had a flashback when you were talking about Crisis Protocol. So flashback to epic level D&D 3.5 edition, which apparently is after your time. We ran the numbers, and my 30-plus strength fighter could lift the General Sherman tree. And I threw a dragon into a line of infantry. Threw a dragon! No big deal.
Hey, is this dragon over here? Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. And
just, whatever. Just move you. It's fine. Get out of the way.
The look on your DM's face when you pick up the dragon and throw it.
Dude, did you ever play the IKRPG? I mean, you were a War Machine at one point.
I played one time. I only got to play one time. And it was great. I don't know if this is. I assume this is the way you're supposed to do it. Like it's kind of like the Dungeons and Dragons element where you're role playing something like that. And then when you get to the battles, they set up the table and you play like a game of War Machine like on the table. That's how you play it. I assume that's the way you read it.
You can do Theater of the Mind because I do.
Okay. Because when we played it, I was like, this is amazing. And then the person who ran it quit playing. So.
Well, obviously because you didn't stalk him to his hotel room and tell him he needed to come back.
Yeah, I know, right?
I love that boys can do those things. I'm so jealous. It's like you can't really do that to everybody, but the right people, the right nerds.
You know what's funny is one of the first times I went to the Star Trek convention we have here in Indy. It was the first time I laser tag, which is the industry I'm in right now, so it had a lasting impact on me. Leonard Nimoy was actually speaking at the time while we were playing laser tag, and we had to stop playing while he was speaking. And I was like, dude, we have all these laser tag equipment on. Why don't we go in there and kidnap him or hold him for...
Yeah, I'm sure his agent would love that.
Yeah.
You want to what? You want to what to 70-year-old Nimoy? No.
I was going to be like, I've never seen you in Star Trek, but I loved you as Galvatron in the Transformers movie.
That's exactly what celebrities love to hear.
Yeah, I know. They're like, what? Oh, man. So that was, we had tons of great stories from going to all these cons. Indiana just has so many cons. We have InCon. It's literally too many to count. It's
well, obviously not too many. You've got yours.
I know, right? And what's funny about Indy Storm picking the date, like we were going through and talking to all the different game people who are TOing all the different games, and we're like, okay, this is the date we're looking at. Every single one of them looked at it. That is the perfect weekend. Every single one of them. We were like, wow, okay. So it's worked out. It's worked out really well for us.
Well, it's January, so it already is a terrible month, and so you get to be indoors and having fun, and you don't have to be outside at any point from the sound of it. And that's important because I imagine Indianapolis in January is probably not the most pleasant.
It can be, and honestly, there are 2 things that can kill this convention. One is really low attendance, which I don't really anticipate, but 2 is snow. And we could, Indiana's weird because the past 3 years we've probably had a total of 8 inches of snow. But like the year before that, it was like negative 17 degrees for like 2 weeks straight, and we got like 3 feet of snow. So it could be anywhere. Like it may not even snow until then. I don't know. Like the weather here in Indiana, we have a saying here in Indiana. I don't know if you guys anything similar, but basically, if you don't like the weather in Indiana, just wait 10 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that when I lived in Oklahoma for a few years, and it just meant if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes and it'll get worse. But I imagine Indianapolis is a little different.
Yeah. Well, even last May, I was in Texas, and I was in a cab, and the cab driver was talking to me. He's like, "Indiana, yeah." And he's like, "Oh, what's the weather like?" And I was like, "You could tell me it's snowing right now, and I would believe you." And the day I landed back in May, it was like May 6th or 7th. It snowed the day I came back. I was like, "Wow."
There you go. That's crazy. Samuel in the chat, by the way, says that kidnapping Spock would in fact be an intergalactic crime.
I'm prepared to live with those decisions.
But there is suggestion about kidnapping Ron Perlman, so that one's okay.
Yeah, if you're gonna go out in style. You know what I'm saying? Like, do something that people are gonna remember you for. Okay. I kidnapped Spock.
So I keep hoping at some point maybe like Vin Diesel will show up at one of these events because he's a nerd. He gets into like the RPG stuff, and I have a feeling he obviously knows 40K because hello, Riddick and perfect pitch black clearly.
And he's a twin. I'm a twin. So yeah.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
He is a twin. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. See, so Vin Diesel or your twin brother, or whatever, show up to Indy Storm, play me some War Machine. That'd be so fun. Oh my gosh. Or 40K. I'll play 40K. Whatever. Bring my Imperial Guard. See what I can pack on the airplane, or steal somebody's army. Whatever.
So you were talking. You said you're planning on bringing.
Probably War Machine, yeah, because that can pack a little bit easier, and it's always hilarious when you take miniatures to the airport, and you always get checked, and then they're they side eye you, and sometimes they're entertained by it, and sometimes they're really not, and I don't know, you just never know what you're gonna get. So.
Yeah, you ought to try flying with laser tag equipment in your suitcases. That's whew. No, believe it or not, here in Indiana, like they've actually gotten used. Me and my boss fly around so much that they've actually gotten used to it. So they don't even look anymore. They're like, okay, yeah, it's just laser tag.
You're just those guys. We actually have a sort of similar thing here in New Mexico because, of course, Breaking Bad was filmed out here, and the meth or whatever that they would make, they actually obtained from a local candy store, the Candy Lady.
Oh, that's right. I heard about that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so she, of course, still sells it because, we're pretty capitalistic here in New Mexico. You got a good business. You just keep milking that, right? And it's funny because the airport knows her because, of course, she'll put her little stamp on the bag. It's all homemade, right? Like just this little homemade stamp, homemade bag, whatever. And so you take that to the airport and they're like, oh, this blue stuff that's meant to look like drugs, you're good. We know.
She could fly with actual drugs and they wouldn't even stop her.
Yes, but I think she's more honest than that.
Yeah. No, that's funny. Yeah, no, it's, I mean, I remember went to Lock and Load with my War Machine bags. I think I took I had to have only taken 2 bags. I can't imagine I took 3. But trying to stick them under, they're like, I know private enterprise is like, oh, you can push the bag up, it'll fit right under the seat. Like, it barely fits under the seat. Like,
you have to full, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to be comfortable on the rest of your flight. I can tell you that much from experience. So,
nice.
Yeah, that's right. Because I had one in the overhead bin, or I had one underneath.
Is that the old battle phone bag? Are you talking about that one, or the official War Machine one?
Yes.
They have a new backpack one that's a lot more comfortable. It's nice. And it's designed to hold your tablet because, of course, everybody's using War Room now, and
Yeah.
If you're...
You know what? Actually, I even up until the past couple of months playing, I still use cards. Because I had a phone and it would die all the time. It would die so fast. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, and then if I'm in the middle of the game and it dies, I lose because I can't. That was another thing too. It's like if you're playing on
that was the rule.
It resets. You're done. I'm like, I can't take that risk. So I just always played cards. For me, it was a lot easier. I always had my cards laid out in a certain way. It was easy to find whatever I needed. So
nice. That totally works. You just have to make sure that for whatever event you're going to, you have recently printed them because they do change pretty regularly.
Yeah, right. With the CIDs and everything now, it can change. Your faction can be completely different in 2 or 3 months.
Which I don't know, may be good. I found it tiring, but I mean, I don't know. I'm the type of gamer who wants to know how to play the game and then come back to it a year later and be like, yeah, let's play this, and you just do it. So I'm sure I'm not like a great target audience for that in that regard, because I'm like, I don't want to have to relearn the rules every 2 months. But they've calmed down on it, I hear. So just fair warning.
And that was always kind of my thing, and I think that was a lot of the meta here in Indianapolis. I think was the constant rule changing. I think that was probably one of the biggest things, because a lot of people were really turned off by it, because it's kind of like it sort of felt like a power creep. Like, okay, this faction's getting, Circle's getting their CID, and so now like Circle's the faction to play here. Like you're just gonna win everything, and it just kind of kept sort of cycling through, which again is a terrible reason to get out of Convergence right now, because winning everything. But
yeah. Oh, War Budgies. I've been to Albuquerque only 4 times. You guys can use all the capitalism help you can get. Dude, you are not kidding. Oh my gosh. Patrick, wasn't John DiMaggio, he plays Slade in the Justice League movie and scene. He's a huge nerd and owns War Machine models. Really? Oh, that's neat.
That's cool.
Yes, actually, I do remember him. He had a big, what is it? Like, I keep wanting to say propaganda. Promotional thing recently. He was pushing gaming stuff. I thought it was all RPG stuff, though. I don't remember.
Yeah, I know he was the bully in the first Spider-Man movie, or the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. He was
the Sam Raimi ones.
Yeah, he was Flash Thompson. So
how about that? There you go. See, and I want to see more. I want to see more of that. I want to see more celebrities playing tabletop games. I don't know if you watched the Jumanji movie, but I feel like that's going in the right direction. Like, I want to see more movies like this where we have, board gaming and tabletop gaming and not video gaming. Video games are fine, but they're just, they're not as social, man.
The video games I've been getting into, well, one, City of Heroes, and like people, the servers got leaked, or someone's got the private servers are popping up everywhere for City of Heroes.
Fair enough.
I started playing that again. I was hugely addicted to that game when it was out. But I
play WoW way too dang much right now. So
see, and I did not get into WoW because I don't know. I was kind of getting bored. For me, like playing like Dungeons and Dragons style games to me was like getting really old, and I was like, I wanted to play a superhero game, and I'd been following City of Heroes for like years before it even came out. Like when they first announced it, they were thinking about doing it. I was like all about it, and then when it came out, I just never stopped playing. And so they've got that, and but the other thing I've been getting into is virtual reality. My brother and I both have virtual reality sets, so and I've got a lot of space over here, so I can
see. So you're all into Beat Saber too?
No, not really.
You use that how you get your morning exercise?
I have played games that I've had to stop playing and take like a 20-minute break because it is ridiculously immersive. There's my brother has the one that's the new Oculus that doesn't have it's not hooked up to anything. It's wireless. Oh. And we had this giant at my brother's work, actually where we first started shooting Counterslam. It was huge open area, and he had the whole thing laid out. And this game that he had like scaled to whatever lines you put out. So like it's really hard to describe. It's one of those things like as you move forward, it sort of builds the game in front of you as you keep moving forward. Like
real-time rendering. Essentially?
Yeah, you may turn around the corner and you'll see a hallway.
Whoa.
But you look back, and if you turn around and look back at where you just were, it's just a flat wall. But you look around the corner and it's this hallway there, and you're like, oh, that's weird. But what it's doing is building the game in the boundaries that you set, so that you can just keep moving. You never have to worry about accidentally stepping out of your boundaries. And it was ridiculous.
Interesting.
But there was one where like the level I played had these. I just came around this corner, and there's this giant building, and there's rooftops. There's giant cannons shooting down at me, and I have to like lasers, and I got to dodge out of the way. But at the same time, there's these like moving platforms that have they're like elevators, and I have to like duck and run to one and jump in it and hit the button, and then when it moves up to this spot, the next one comes up. I got to run out there and not get shot, and push the button, and I'm like literally like I can picture my brother seeing me. I'm like literally laying near the floor, just jumping from place to place and hitting things. And by the time I got done, I'm like, I can't do this.
That's
not for very long.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super like interactive. That's one thing I love about the virtual reality. It's not just sitting here and just mouse and keyboard the whole time. It's actually moving around and aiming at things. I have one game where it's sort of like World of Warcraft, where you're fighting against these goblins and stuff like that. You're going through this area, and you can be a fighter with you can have a sword, or they have like a crossbow that you load up, or you have a bow and arrow that you can start shooting arrows at. And so things that next day you're kind of like, oh, man, shooting that bow and arrow is maybe not the best idea, but it's good exercise, I guess. But
okay, yeah, interesting.
So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's kind of what little stuff that I kind of get into now. That
I worry about. I don't know. Virtual reality has a lot of potential. Certainly interesting. I feel like I would lose my mind though if I were in like a virtual reality survival horror or something like that. Like, I'd be
those
gone.
are freaky.
I'd be dead.
Yeah, I've played a few of those too. I have like a 7-year-old niece who just can do the horror stuff like it's nothing, and I'm like,
what's wrong with you, little child?
She just does not care. She will go through and she thinks it's funny, and I'm like, man, I can't.
Something is clearly broken.
Oh, nope, take it off. I'm done. Yeah. So we have a lot of fun. We have like army simulators and so me being in the entertainment industry with laser tag, I go to these big trade shows where I get to see the new attractions that are coming out. I get a chance to kind of sneak peek a lot of stuff, and they are putting virtual reality into everything. And I kid you not, and I don't know that it really went anywhere, but one year they had virtual reality, and I'm not making this up, on a water slide. How does virtual reality work on a water slide? But it did, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess the amount of space you need maybe is.
Yeah, well, it's just I just think of putting electronics near water. That's like my head and a $400 piece of equipment. But like virtual reality on roller coasters, virtual reality on different, just all kinds of different rides. A lot of the racing games now, like you see it arcades, they're starting to do virtual reality where you put it on and now you feel like you're actually driving, in the environments. It's pretty neat. So, they have some that are where you're not tethered and you can walk around, and they have actual you'll see fire coming at you, and they'll have a heater blowing heat on you, or or you feel like the platform's moving upward and the ground is shaking when you're standing on it, so it feels like you're actually moving. There's even a scent machine where if your giant zombie roars at you, you can smell its nasty breath. Like,
that is unacceptable.
They're getting so immersive with this stuff. It's going to be crazy.
Wow. Jeez. I wonder what going to the movies is going to become like.
I have a movie theater program on my virtual.
Yeah.
I do watch movies in my own virtual movie theater, which is pretty fun. So I don't have to worry about kids sitting three seats over screaming at me. So.
But that's part of the fun.
I told my wife it does not matter what movie we go to see. There will always be a child within 5 seats of me who is really loud. And,
I mean, at 10 o'clock at night, it won't even matter. You're right.
Mm-hmm. And she didn't believe me until I started. We'll go sit down on a movie, and I'll hear a kid, and I'll just point, and my wife will look, and she's just like, after a while, she's like, "Yep, you're absolutely right. There will always be a child near you." And we went to go see The Suicide Squad in IMAX at midnight, and I kid you not,
of course,
two people that sat in front of us had babies in their hands, like newborn babies. I'm like, are you insane?
What? Babysitting is expensive. Never mind the fact that you just paid $30 for your IMAX ticket, but
I know, right? I was like, they started like crying in the middle of the movie, and I'm like, man, who could have seen that coming?
Oh my gosh.
No, I guess another thing that's really fun about India, we like to take our kids to go see scary movies.
Oh yeah, I don't know what it is. Like that happens out here too. Bye, War Budgies. Thanks for hanging out, man. Bye, and thanks for hanging out. I don't know why I'm typing it when I can say it, but whatever.
And if people have any other questions about Indy Storm 2, I'd be more than happy to answer if anybody has any other questions.
There might be. Was the Artemis your idea?
It was not my idea. Tom actually knew somebody who ran Artemis, like as I think a side business. So he's bringing it to the show.
Zach Sporin says Joe Manganiello. Is that how you say it? Oh gosh, I'm sorry. He owns a D&D streetwear brand, and he's a friend of his. Oh, that's awesome. City of Heroes. Did you play City of Heroes?
Oh yes, that was my game. That's the end.
That is the name. Yeah, that's right. So Warbudgies also said that was his jam.
So if they're playing City of Heroes, so people, if you're playing City of Heroes, you've probably seen on the Facebook group. I actually, if people are familiar with the arcade 1-up, like the little arcade machines that they sell at Walmart, I took one of those arcade machines and I made it into a City of Heroes arcade machine, and it is ridiculously cool. So I can actually play that on the arcade machine itself. I can play City of Heroes. So.
Gotcha. So you do in fact have a problem. Okay, I understand.
Yes.
Did you try DC?
And too much money apparently.
Did you try DC Universe?
I did. I was actually in their beta, and I did play for a few months after that. The only thing I had a problem, like the beta was super fun, but the only thing I had a problem with was end game content. Like once you hit your sort of the max level, you went sort of from feeling like a superhero to being like kind of a chump. Like it feels like you would go to fight certain villains, and their henchmen would just take you out. You couldn't even beat one henchman. They would just destroy you. And it's like, I don't really feel like a hero. But what they're trying to do is trying to get you to, because when you hit the highest level, you go join the Justice League up in their, watchtower up in the sky, and they encourage you to build teams and play with other people. And that was their big thing. Is like, hey, once you get into the Justice League, like the Justice League don't do anything on their own. They're always as a team. So you got to go and find your own team and go do these missions versus trying to do it by yourself. Where City of Heroes is much more scalable. You can do things on your own if you want to, or if you want to get a team together, you can do that. You can scale the difficulty however you want to, and to me it was just a lot more fun. It was a lot like putting together costumes and things like that. Where to me was just a lot more fun. So I just kind of stuck with that.
Fair enough. There was a little bit of shade in the chat. Zach Sporin said, if you saw Suicide Squad at the midnight release, you deserve worse than screaming kids.
Ooh. I didn't say
how did you feel about Suicide Squad? Are you looking forward to Birds of Prey?
No.
Neither am I.
I've already seen the story plot for it. I'm like, this is worse than Batman. I cannot.
Dude, I'm pretty worried about Wonder Woman too for that reason, but I'm gonna see it anyway because I really like the first one.
I can tell you this: when we went to Comic-Con, we got to see the panel. The only panel I went to, I got to see where Aquaman was the big one, and then they had where they were interviewing the director Gal Gadot and Chris Pine, and seeing. I can tell you this for a fact that the two people that loved their characters the most, I mean, and had the most vested interest, was Jason Momoa with Aquaman and Gal Gadot with Wonder Woman. She loves that character. Like she is all about. She is the excitement in her eyes talking about the new Wonder Woman movie. Like has sold me on going to see it. Like
That's so nice.
Because even like seeing, I don't know, some of the other, even the guy, I forget the guy that played the Flash in the Justice League movie, he was there. He didn't I forget, Ezra Miller. He didn't even seem like he really cared about the movie that he was in. I think he was in the Fantastic Beasts or whatever. Like even he was kind of like, eh. So I never really felt like he was sold on being his character. But Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa, they were all about it. That was theirs, and they made it their own, which is really cool. And I have really high hopes for Wonder Woman, the second Wonder Woman movie.
All right, well, set in my favorite era.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Well, good. I'm glad she likes her character. She plays it so well, and it's like nice to see a awesome superhero that's nice and not huge chip on their shoulder. Like, I'm so bored with that.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's and like I said, when you get to see some of the actors up close and you see them kind of talk about their characters, some of them just don't act like they really care that much. But
no, you see that a lot in Hollywood.
Yeah, but
it's like they obviously sneer at it or whatever in the background, so it's hard to be as excited.
Yeah, but when you see those people who are really sold, I mean, you see like Joaquin Phoenix, you know,
Oh yeah.
talking about the Joker or something, like, you know, he's passionate about the movie. He gave everything he had into that. Like, you
That
know,
dude does not phone stuff in, as far as I can tell.
he
Like,
doesn't, right? And that was one thing that was really cool about seeing the panel. Like when they were showing that they were debuting the Aquaman trailer, like Jason Momoa hadn't even seen it yet. So what he did was you know, they're all sitting on the panel and the big screen behind them is where they're showing the trailer. He like got up and picked up his chair and moved it to the front of the stage and turned it around so he could view it with the audience. Like, you know, he was excited about it. Like nobody else did that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And that was just really refreshing. It's good to see characters that, you know, like, are actors who really care about their characters, because if they care that much about their characters, then it's probably worth going to go see at least once, you know.
When the line is, you know, to the question of, well, what attracted you to this role? It's not just like a 6-figure salary or 7-figure salary.
Yeah.
Ho hum. We've got only a couple movies left coming out this year. I guess so. Did you see Knives Out?
I have not seen that one yet.
It's actually pretty good. I saw it yesterday. I was surprised. I did not expect what happened, and I appreciated it. So it's well told.
Did you see Dr. Sleep?
I've not seen that one yet. That will probably be maybe this weekend. I need to catch. I got off sync with my friend because we were usually seeing movies together, and then she went out of town, and then she already saw it. And so when we were hanging out, we wanted to see new movies, and I haven't caught up. So
Dr. Sleep was pretty good. They did a really good job of fleshing out the characters, like all the all the main characters. They do a really good job of, like, even the villains. Once they kind of really get towards the end of the movie, where they're, you know, the heroes and villains kind of start clashing, like, you understand both sides of the movie, like the characters, like you understand why they're each doing what they're doing, and that was pretty cool. The director who did that, he's done a lot of really good movies. I think he did Oculus, and I think there was I forget some of the other ones he did, but he's a really good director, and it was, I can only imagine what it was like trying to put together this movie based on a book that's a sequel to a book that wasn't maybe as faithfully adapted as the writer wanted. Stephen King didn't really like The Shining.
No, but Stephen King has a very tawdry relationship with his movie counterparts.
Yeah, so this director's trying to merge the book with the movie for The Shining, as well as what's going on in this book, and rather than just kind of throw in like, oh hey, remember The Shining, you know, he builds the story of the Dr. Sleep part of the movie, like he builds the whole story, and then once everything is established, then he goes and says, okay, and this is how it relates to The Shining, and it's so much better than like just trying to like force it into the movie. It didn't feel like it was forced at all, which was really cool.
All right. I definitely plan to check it out. I was not especially impressed when I saw the previews for it because of how modern everything looks. I remember watching it, especially right after seeing a re-release of The Shining in the theaters. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm watching a Harry Potter sequel, because
it doesn't have the same feel as The Shining.
No, I don't think it will. But if it's fine on its own, then, you know, that's fine. It's just, it's a weird thing to have follow up something like Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Yeah. You can tell, like, there's certain elements they pull out of the Stanley Kubrick stuff, but it's not a lot. Not a lot. So it's, but yeah, it's a good movie on its own. It's worth seeing at least once, so I'd recommend it.
I'm sure I will. I usually get around. I try to catch like about 100 movies a year as they come out. I still miss most of them. It's so crazy how many come out right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. I'm just like waiting for it to come out on digital stream. I can watch it here at home. So
yeah, home has too many distractions. It's good to go out sometimes.
This is, you know, it's funny. This is my, you know, look at my little playoffs. This is actually where I work too. I work from home. This is my work office too. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I get a chance to. I have a pretty relaxed schedule, so being able to catch up on movies is pretty easy for me. It's like while I'm working, I can have the screen. And
do you end up looking up a lot of the tabletop games, or is it mostly movie distraction in between your job stuff?
Oh, I didn't hear what you said. You kind of.
Oh, sorry. Do you end up checking out a lot of the new tabletop games, like the skirmish stuff or any of that, or is it mostly movies?
Mostly movies for me.
Nice and passive, right? It's kind of fun to catch up
Yeah,
on the stories and relax.
I have when I'm working, I do a lot of graphic design work, so
Mm.
a lot of times I'm more listening to what's going on rather than watching a lot of stuff. So
Oh, I see. Yeah.
so in that regard, a lot of times I tend to watch the scene because I already know what's going on, but I can kind of hear it in the background, and I can sort of play it in my head as I'm working on something else. I have the almost always a lot of times I have The Office streaming just constantly in the background, just looping. So,
The Office. Oh my
The Office,
gosh.
yeah. I don't. I didn't really care for The Office when it was out. Like
Yeah.
it was out on Netflix. I just started watching it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm hooked or whatever. So, I just catch little jokes here and there as I'm working, and then it just laugh. Little jokes I pick up here and there.
I see. Um, Olorian, our Australian friend here in the chat, he going back to the Wonder Woman thing, said Gal Gadot is gorgeous, and Wonder Woman is the single best DC film out there because it didn't have the gaudy cartoon backdrops. It felt real and relatable. Well, she felt relatable. I cannot believe how many people loved Aquaman. My parents loved Aquaman.
Really?
And I'm like, could you tell me what it was about? And they're like, it was pretty. Like, okay, yeah. I guess I know why Aquaman's popular. I mean, and Jason Momoa, I mean, let's be real, he's lovely. So, there's that.
Well, I can say when I saw Aquaman, one of the things that really struck me about it was the cinematography, like the backgrounds and everything. Because that and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 were both just beautifully shot movies. Like you come out and you're just like, man, the colors and just the way all that stuff just popped. Like Aquaman had that really going. Even it, and some people criticize that Jason Momoa and Amber Heard aren't necessarily the best actors out there, but the story and the visuals sort of helped kind of push their roles up because they just had to act in these gorgeous sceneries, and it wasn't necessarily just about them acting. It was like this whole environment, and it was pretty. It was a really pretty movie. So
it certainly is a pretty movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, and you could say that about a lot of things though anymore. What was it? The remake of Suspiria? You're like, well, that was a movie. Pretty. Oh well, it is what it is. Well, cool. I'm excited about Indy Storm. I think it'll be a good time. I don't know what to expect weather-wise. I mean, like, bring a big winter coat and a t-shirt, it sounds like.
I would at least bring a jacket. It's probably if you just have to get from the airport, get from the car to the hotel, you're probably okay with just a medium jacket, But I guess in Albuquerque, you guys probably don't really have winter coats, do you?
I mean, we can get some pretty cold winters. It's the fluctuation. So because of the desert, the sun will still warm up during the day, and you'll hit like the 50s in the middle of winter. But at night, it'll be 10 degrees just because you have that wide range because the air is so thin. So, you still want a coat because the second the sun goes down, like, it gets cold, like dark side of the moon cold. So
I guarantee you when you get off the plane, you're gonna feel the cold.
I'm gonna feel
the humidity.
So. Hate the humidity. Things I do from that, friends. Little Fenris is coming along. I haven't painted his nipple rings yet. I'm a little embarrassed to do it on stream. He's getting there. His skin tone. Oh, blur. There we go. Patrick doesn't think Amber Heard will return to the role of Aquaman.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that they were looking at.
Well, maybe they should find someone a little more sane.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, man, I was with people because at the time when I went to Comic-Con, the whole thing with Johnny Depp, like that, we'd only heard her side of it. So I'm right off the bat in the beginning. During the Warner Brothers panel, they did the Fantastic Beasts, and they had Johnny Depp was there doing his thing, and then at the end they had Amber Heard there with the Aquaman cast, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, they're in the same place, like it's like they probably had to pass each other in a hallway, like what go down.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah, but then then the story came out about his side of the story. It's like, oh man, yeah. So I think Amber Heard kind of shot herself in the foot on that one.
I don't know, man. Freaking Hollywood's just full of crazy people. So.
Yeah, that too.
That's kind of funny, but what can you do? What was I going to say? I had a train of thought. Oh yeah, Alurian is asking, are you excited for the final Star Wars saga film?
I Last Jedi just was so bad. Like I came out of the Last Jedi. Friends were we all went to go see it, and I remember coming out and I was like, "What did I just watch?" Yeah, and I was like, "This was really off." And I was like, I need to think about it. We were kind of talking about it afterwards. My friends love to do that. We'll go see a movie and then we'll go.
Oh yeah,
I live like 5 minutes walking distance from a movie theater here at my house, so nice. We'll a lot of times we'll come back here and we'll just talk about the movie and kind of pick it apart. And Last Jedi just was so bad. I was like, I don't even know how I'm supposed to get excited for episode 9. Like, I don't.
Well, especially when you hear all the rumor stuff about them still doing reshoots and everything, and you're like, oh, you don't even know what this movie's going to be about. This will be interesting. I mean, obviously I'm going to go see it because you've got to go see it. But
I mean,
I'm pretty
I'll probably see. I don't think I'm going to be on the opening day going out to see it. I'll probably wait to kind of hear, sort of get the think. And if it's like something people are really excited about, I'll probably go check it out, fairly soon. But if people are like, then I may just wait and go see it at like the Dollar Theater or whatever. So.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's just hard to be excited anymore. I hate it when the veil is removed and you can realize the people in charge are so uninterested in any of the history and any of the actual story points, and they just have this idea in their head and they're like, this is a good enough vehicle, we'll push this story into this one. And it's like,
yeah, it was. I think Kathleen Kennedy had made some comment I saw online. Well, there just wasn't enough like history for us to really work around for these movies. Like,
yes. Like, really?
You guys erased all the history you guys had. Like, all the extra stuff, all the extra universe stuff that people were writing, and people, the video games and everything that everyone was used to, like characters that people have known for decades, and they just scrapped it all. And it's like, man, if only we had something to build on. It's like, you had it.
True.
But I think The Mandalorian is showing something to the Star Wars people, because Star Wars, unfortunately, with the new trilogy, because so much of it is, especially with the Force Awakens and probably, I'm going to guess, probably The Rise of Skywalker, there's going to be a lot of rehashing of a lot of old story plots from the original trilogy. Like, that's just, I hate to say it, but that's kind of J.J. Abrams' thing. He likes to rehash things.
He's good at it,
Yeah, but the thing that they could have done, and I think they're saying with The Mandalorian, is that in the Star Wars universe, there are plenty of stories to tell. You have The Mandalorian now. You got, it's kind of sort of like a kind of Wild West kind of feel to it. You could do like a spy movie. You could do a horror movie. You could do. There's so many a romance thing all set in the Star Wars universe, because there's so many planets and parts of the galaxy that you could explore that could be so rich and vibrant, and like could tell great stories in this whole galaxy universe thing that they're trying to build for Star Wars. But they keep pigeonholing. It's like, it's got to be
about Jedis, and Skywalker.
The Han Solo movie, and we got to throw in some bit about Darth Maul. It's like, man, expand it. You don't stop going in like this and just and go get it. Don't. But like.
Well, it's just. That's a sign of insecurity, And
it's okay to play. I think Hollywood hasn't really discovered yet that it's okay to play into people's expectations, like, as long as you do it well.
Well, remember, everything's made by committee. You've got to get the permission of somebody writing $100 million check, and usually they're old and scared.
Yeah, they don't know anything about the properties, Gosh,
well, yeah, man. There's definitely plenty of that.
Whew. Yeah, so there's a lot of,
Man, look what you guys did. You got them all worked up over Star Wars. I just want them to redeem the Star Trek movies. I'm happy with the Star Wars original series, and I grew up not really having Star Wars as a staple of my childhood as much. Like, I think I was just past that generation, and so I'm like, okay. Star Wars is fine. Like, these are great movies. I don't need more of them. I don't need to see this get, messed up. Felt that way about Aliens. Aliens is the one I grew up with. And I'm like, no, stop making Aliens movies, please. Please, I can't. It's already dead. Stop.
Stop killing it. Yeah, they, man. Well, did you hear they're doing a new Star Trek with the cast from the J.J. Abrams cast for Star Trek?
Okay, sure.
The
movies have been better than the TV shows lately, so
yeah. So they're doing.
They just need to stop making Spock so emotional.
Yeah.
Rage.
I don't understand the properties. So you got Star Trek, and so they announced that they've announced a lot of stuff recently.
We need another Alien versus Predator. I keep hearing this be requested, and maybe one of these days they'll make a good one.
Because Dark Horse had some great crossovers.
I hear, man.
RoboCop versus Turner.
Dude, RoboCop. They should remake that movie. We'll ignore what happened a few years ago. There was never a remake. But
yeah.
They should remake Demolition Man. That would be fun.
Well,
dude, that movie's so great. Yeah, they probably don't actually need to remake it.
Speaking of Demolition Man, at San Diego Comic-Con, they had they took a restaurant space and they turned it into the Taco Bell from Demolition Man. And I kid you not, the line to get into it was about 4 blocks long.
That makes me so happy.
I had friends
faith in humanity restored.
I had friends who were waiting to get in. They were right by the entrance. Them over like 3 hours to get in. Like, it was the weirdest thing. Like, they had this. So a lot of people obviously didn't get in, but they served you those same type, like Taco Bell stuff in courses. They have like, here's the appetizer course, and here's the main thing, like, and it was really funny. They had one of those swearing machines outside where if you swear and
it would give you the ticket.
But it didn't work. But the problem was, like, one guy didn't know, and he just went on this. I think he was kind of like on the spectrum, so to speak. Mm-hmm. He went on this huge cursing tirade, just swearing up a storm, and everyone, like, the management had to come out and be like, "Sir, if you don't stop, we have to ask you to leave." Like, it was awkward. He was like screaming. Man. Yeah, so I actually didn't eat in it in the Taco Bell. Me and my friend, we were across the street at like some ice cream store that was like not 4 blocks long to get into, and so we had some ice cream and stuff and hung out there while our friends ate at the Taco Bell. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love Demolition Man too. That was a great movie.
Alurian, I'd heard rumors Jon Favreau might replace Kathleen Kennedy soon because he has a love of the classic and The Mandalorian reviving a lot of fans. Interesting. I think he might be behind the Obi-Wan show they've announced too. Interesting.
Yeah, they need some new direction. Kathleen Kennedy was not the for that.
I don't understand why. I mean, she came with Lucas. Like, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I had hope, Like, okay, maybe you know what's going on, but no, just a Hollywood schluck like anyone else. Oh my gosh! So I would love to see an exploration of the Jar Jar conspiracy theory.
Dark side Jar Jar.
Darth, it makes sense. I watched like a 40-minute YouTube video about how, he's like talking a part of the movies, even though you don't hear him talking because he's like controlling other people with his Jedi powers. I'm on board 100%.
Not gonna do that.
It would have made the movies so much better.
Use the dark side. What's really funny is my best friend who goes with us to all these movies. He has a plush Jar Jar Binks doll, and he's had it since episode 1 came out, and it still works. The batteries in it still work. If you squeeze it, his tongue comes out, and he's like, whatever that he does in one of the movies. And I was like, we should so take that into the Star Wars movie, and at the worst times, squeeze it. Like, imagine you're watching Force Awakens, and you see Kylo Ren, spoilers, impale, his dad, right? And then all of a sudden, like everyone's like, and all of a sudden you hear,
Oh my gosh.
oh my gosh,
so sensitive.
Or like when Ray's standing there, she goes to hand him the lightsaber at the end of the and everyone's all like, you hear, or like he squeezes like Misa, like he says some of the quotes too. Oh my gosh,
my gosh. I feel like Mark Hamill would have been on board. He would approve of this. Idea.
I would have wet myself laughing. That would have been amazing. But yeah, so I don't know. We're toying with the idea of taking it into the Rise of Skywalker, and playing with it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh my gosh, get thrown out, dude. I mean, whatever. But
deal. I'll do. Be fun. So I don't know. You only live once, right? So.
You only die once. You live every day.
You only die once. You live every day. Yeah.
I've seen Snoopy's little meme too. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Right. This model doesn't quite match the artwork. He's wearing like a diaper in the artwork, and I don't think he's wearing much of anything under this belt. And this little Fenris model is making me uncomfortable by the moment. Where's your clothing? I don't understand. This is why I don't paint crazy Kador. I don't know how to get dressed.
I'm actually looking at the model you're painting right now. So
it's interesting. I mean, you can tell the concept art is, obviously just a lot more simplified because the swords have none of the Orgoth symbols or anything on it, and
okay.
It's close. The posing is a little different. His feet are in a different stat, but it's fine. He's interesting. I don't know exactly. I mean, I guess Kitty in the chat suggested using him as a replacement of one of the Nayslayers because, they ride horses. And so that would work, maybe.
That could work. I only have, I think I only have one of the MiniCrate models. I got the Iris.
Oh, yeah. See, I wasn't getting MiniCrate at that point. The whatever 50th Iris they've made.
I would have loved to have had a collection of all the Angel ones, like the new Aurora and what was a Fiora, the one that was really cool.
That's
that would be. I think that'd be really neat. And that honestly, the Angels are kind of what got me. Begin with, I was like, this is really cool.
Pretty sculpts.
And then again, when I get out, that's when they introduce all the Angel models.
Well,
Aurora too.
Take the hint, Eric. Jeez, and, I feel like it's telling you something. There's some beautiful Archons out now.
Yeah, and the Archons too with wings. Why now?
So you're saying you're going to be my buddy in the team tournament then? You and your twin brother, so I can just yell one name for the both of you and be done with it.
I always tell my friends, just say Eric.
Thank
you. You'll get it right at least 50% of the time. You'll get it right, and then I don't have to hear Chris all the time.
Fair enough. But he's helping you run it, right?
He is not helping me run it.
It's not? Okay.
Which is actually really weird because we do everything together. Now he'll obviously be there, but we're he and I, we've done so much together. He's the one who helped me make that arcade cabinet and things like that. He does that. It was like fun.
Nerd cabinet. That's right. I was going to ask you. Important question. So you're a Star Trek fan, being someone who goes to those conventions. Which is the best series? You
would think, right? Yeah. I like Star Trek. I'm not a super fan. Like the reason why we all went to the Star Trek convention was just honestly to get it out of the house. Like all my friends could go for a weekend and just go spend time. And we were all nerdy, like we're playing the laser tag. We're doing this Star Trek stuff.
Is laser tag nerdy? Like officially, is that like a classification for laser tag?
It was in the 90s. I wasn't big enough to play in sports, so I couldn't play basketball.
Oh, you were tiny.
Oh well, being a twin, my brother and I were both. My growth spurt until I was like 11th grade.
Oh my gosh.
And my dad was the same way. I found out he was in the Marines, and he was the only Marine to outgrow his fatigues. He had he was that small going in, but he grew when he was in there. And so playing laser tag, that was my thing. Me and my friends were just fantastic at it. But yeah, so the Star Trek thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
What about the Star Trek?
I was just wondering if I guess, did you watch any of the series, or you just trolled the convention?
We didn't participate in a whole lot of the Star Trek stuff that they had going on. We like to go walk around the buyers area because they had a really cool, and that's kind of where I got into a lot of like getting ideas for collecting even things like Transformers and action figures, things like that I have like all around my office now. Was because they would sell these rare exclusive figures at this convention, and I enjoyed that way more, and going and playing some the role playing games, things like that. I enjoyed all that stuff way more than just the Star Trek stuff. So yeah, my parents were fans of Star Trek. I liked Star Trek. I watched. I think I've seen every Star Trek movie. I've seen most of the series. I think the only one I didn't watch was I didn't watch Enterprise really, and I didn't really watch Voyager that much. I've seen more episodes now as an adult than when I was a kid, but I've seen like all Deep Space Nine, I've seen Next Generation all the way through a few times.
Dead Horse. I'm just showing what I'm painting. I'm not talking about your subject matter.
Okay, Eric, we get it.
Bored now.
Laser tag. Go play laser tag.
Steve, lifelong Star Wars fan, had little interest in supporting what SJ Wars has become. Didn't know Disney would work so hard to destroy the franchise. Man, they're just so disconnected from the audience, I think. It's just, they do not know what people want, and they're kind of trying to lecture to people, which, honestly, entertainment should probably butt out of doing.
Only Disney would try to push the fact that we're getting Star Wars fatigue, and yet put out 4 Marvel movies in a year consistently for the past 5 years.
Although, after Endgame, I was pretty lax about going and seeing the new Spider-Man. And, Spider-Man's a fan favorite, but I don't know, I was kind of tired after Endgame. I was like,
I think Endgame was a good jumping off a lot of people. I think a lot of people are going to be kind of, so-so about the rest of them. I think it's going to be a good start over point, or give other companies a chance to kind of start their own thing. And
well, yeah, and there's always that rotation, right? Like, even if a company wants to hold on to that kind of, fame, I guess, or that leadership, it will change out. It's just the nature of it, and it gives the actors a good opportunity to leave, I guess.
Yeah, because I don't see Natalie Portman's Thor dragging a lot of people.
Did you see that poor girl couldn't even lift the hammer at that convention?
I did.
Oh my gosh. So I was like, girl, you need a sandwich. I feel like Lady Thor would probably...
5 foot nothing.
She's like a walking stick. I mean, I guess that's fine for some roles, but I wouldn't think Lady Thor would be emaciated.
Yeah, they're gonna have to work with her pretty good to make her
just worthy. Give her a CG body.
Chris Hemsworth body with her head. They're awesome. Come on, Marvel. Let's see how you're doing with these special.
I would have been happy with Valkyrie. She was great.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I get it. Yeah, sure, it doesn't fit the story or whatever, but I mean, it doesn't have to.
You know what's really funny about Valkyrie and Endgame?
What's that?
Watch at the end of the game, or at the end of the movie, when the end game, no, towards the end of the movie, when Captain America, he's like, they're looking for Ant-Man's van, and he's like, where has anybody seen this ugly brown van or whatever? Valkyrie shows up. She shows up and she's like, oh, I see it over here. She's like talking into her little thing, and I'm like, how did she get a comm? She's not an Avenger.
You should definitely not question that. Gear Lad, gosh, I hope I said that right, in the chat, did mention a good question. What happened to Lady Sif? She was cool. I remember her in a couple episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah. Weren't they supposed to... I thought they were supposed to make her a more prominent character in Thor, and they didn't.
No, I don't know what happened. But she was cool. So.
To be honest, I really thought she should have played Wonder Woman right off the bat. I thought she really looked the part, too. I think she could have pulled it off if they would have picked her. But.
So I grew up in the 90s watching Xena, and Lucy Lawless obviously should have been Wonder Woman. But clearly it was ahead of its time, so... It is what it is. Gal Gadot does a great job. Sif would have also done a good job. But I guess, being Marvel, though, she probably wouldn't have been allowed to do any of that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, I mean, you think that, but there are plenty of actors who sides, so I don't know.
Maybe. Bye, Steve. Thanks for hanging out, man. This guy is eventually coming along. He's got most of his base coats on, and I mixed some color for his tongue. Have you been painting anything lately, Eric? Have you just been busy running a convention as an important person?
Man, it's been so busy.
She's gonna wear pants.
The things that I've been painting recently have been more like custom Transformers, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite so much the models. I said I really want to jump Batman, but I feel like I have to get psyched up for it. I need to, because when I sit down to do it, I know I'm knock out at least the main characters, and I need to, in my head, I got to figure out how much time that's going to take, and because I do paint really fast. Jose used to always tell me I needed to do the speed painting competitions at Gen Con, because I could paint models so fast compared to most of my friends. I actually, it's funny if you watch if people watch some of the model reviews we used to do on CounterSlam. When I would do those models, I would have put those models and painted them that day. Like that was one day's effort. Putting it together,
I've done that, but that's
reviewing it.
Oh my gosh. What's your technique then? What is your secret? Hang on a second. My antique white got hidden from me, and I had to fix that situation. Yes, your secret to speed painting then.
What I usually do is just I pick out the top 3 or 4 colors that I want to do, and especially if it's like a unit, I just do one color. I blast through all the models and with one color, then I do the next color, and then the next color, and then that way I don't think of it necessarily as painting so many models. It's more like, okay, can I get through this color? And then once I get through like 4 or 5 colors, then I do like my washes and dry brushes and stuff like that. Usually it turns out okay. It's not, I'm not going to turn it into, submit it to Privateer Press for any painting competitions, but they look decent. I've had plenty of models that look pretty good that only take me maybe a couple hours to do.
Oh, wow. So have you tried out any of the contrast paints from GW?
Any of the what?
The contrast paints. Are you familiar with those?
I am not.
So, a few months ago, I guess now? Several months ago now, probably. They came out with their new design, contrast paints, which are designed to be a base coat and a shade and highlight, I guess, at the same time.
I have not used them, but my friend Jason uses them. He used those to paint his Crisis Protocol models, and he swears by them. He said that that's like the best way he paints now. Like he's like, I can't do anything else now.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
yeah, he loves them.
That's a very strong opinion on it then, huh?
Yeah. I personally haven't used them, but I'd like to use them. It'd be kind of cool to try out.
What are your paints of choice?
I use anything I can get my hands on, to be honest.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, because I sometimes looking for specific colors and I can't find them in certain brands. And I don't know if it's like that out where you guys are at, but like our gaming store, like if they run out of a particular color, we may not see that color again for a year. Like we have to wait for that to come back. So a lot of times I'll go from store to store and just kind of find what I'm looking for, and then I might go to Michael's and pick out some cool iridescent paint or a turbo dork. Yeah. And like Turbo Dork, I don't know. Have you ordered anything from those guys yet? With the metallic stuff? They have like very cool metallics where like it's like color changing metallics and things like that, and it's really affordable. And they're here in the States too, so you can get it pretty quick too, which is nice.
Ooh, fancy. Oh, I'll have to try them out. What are they called again?
Turbo Dork.
Turbo Dork.
Yep.
Flattering.
The company. But their colors are awesome looking. So if you get a chance to see them, you'll want to go over like your Cato stuff with some of the reds they have. Like it's that cool looking. You'll be like,
I can't change my reds. I have one red shade for all my Kador. You can't ask me to change that. You mad?
I'm just saying. Oh, it's kind of funny because one of the things I'm sort of known for in our painting group or our little War Machine group is I almost always paint and this is probably me playing in convergence all the time, but I paint in like metallics. I don't know if people have seen like my. Actually, hang on one second. Let me go get it real quick. I'll show you my art. Hang on one second.
For the record, that is somebody else who paints with craft paint. Okay, this is a perfectly acceptable thing to do.
So the Archangel I have here is actually
Ooh.
it's like this is painted almost exclusively in metallics. Like it's like the gunmetal blue from Vallejo, and some of the highlights, things like that I've done like on the wings and the back. So like it's not metallic, but
Wow.
But yeah, like if you see it, like it's really hard to see on here, but like the hands, like sort of like shiny metallic white, like a pearlescent white, and things like that, kind of mixed in.
Which makes sense for a dragon faction. That works.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, too, another reason why I paint so quick is because I was playing Legion at the time, so it's just skin and bone. That's probably what it was too.
Sinew, some carapace. You paint Tyranids probably pretty fast, yeah.
Yeah, I thought about getting into Tyranids when I was looking at 40K, but I don't know. That's kind of what I was at. But yeah, this is my only. I think this is some of my last remaining Legion stuff. I have the Archangel with Rias on the front because that's was my favorite caster in the little.
Rias is awesome. She was actually interesting. Like I couldn't get into Legion very much, but Rias was cool. Little ninja lady.
Yeah, just decapitating everything was awesome. And then you had the Mark. I think this is Mark 1. Like faction coin for Legion. I have it stuck to the front. So this was like one of my favorite models I painted.
Oh wow!
I also kept for my convergence. I kept one of my prime axioms that I turned into the Scorpion that I did a tutorial on how to do. I kept one of those, and I kept kind of a custom Aurora that I made. I took a Steel Soul Protector and put wings on it, and like Aurora's wings, and changed out the staff and everything. It looked pretty cool. So that was the Aurora that I played a lot of times with my friends.
So that model is crazy. The chick's like ridiculously taller than all the other models when that one came out. And I mean, I don't know if they retconned it or not, because I think the model came out before the stories, but in the stories, she's legitimately 6 foot. But like every woman in the Iron Kingdoms is at least 5'10". Every single one of them. That's the baseline female stat in the IKRPG too for women. Oh, just weird. So you know, they're all 5'10".
At least they're consistent.
Right.
Must be this tall to be a woman. They have so the Steel Soul Protector, because it's on a medium base.
Okay.
As a model wise, she's quite a bit bigger, but
yeah, that's right. She's a cool model. Annoying character.
Yeah,
but
I kind of wish they would have made her a little more. I think with the CID they made her a little better model too to play. Like she,
a little tougher.
They gave her some bumps to her stats and things like that, which is kind of cool. I think she's a Mat 8 now or something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah, right, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so that's the only few models I kept for convergence. I have a couple angels, a couple of factions of the 3 angel units, three person units. I kept a couple of those because in Mark 2 they were field allowance of 5 if you took a, and when they turned to Mark 3 they made it FA3, and they never gave us back the ability to take 5 units. So every convergence player has 2 units of angels sitting somewhere, not doing anything.
Just make them into scenario markers or terrain. Make them into statues. Do a lot with them. They're pretty models.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Quit your whining, you convergence players. I hated spam lists, honestly. I was so glad to see a lot of those kind of done away with.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, it's cheesy.
The double battle engine with the 6 sprays that can wipe everything out.
Yeah, because that's super fun. Sort of a one-sided problem they ran into a bit. No, spam, and of course, with Khador, it was the Doomreaver spam that people would go nuts with, and it's like,
but you guys had the Warjack spam too for a while.
With the Vlad or whatever. Yeah, the Berserkers.
Berserkers, yeah.
Because Vlad's feet would give some decent bonuses, and But that's fine, because it's called War Machine. You know, the machines, the cool robots, which is why I even bought into the faction. But not crazy people running around with ancient swords. It's boring, so... To me, obviously.
Yeah,
obviously to everybody.
I think Mark III sort of at least brought it back to...
It did fix a lot of stuff. They just...
Yeah.
It's a little rough of a release, we'll say.
Yeah. Because I remember in Mark II, like, for a long time, like, you just didn't see many war...
No, because they were inefficient. Everything was so deadly in the game. My friend described it as a game of sledgehammers.
Yep.
And it largely still is, you know. Caster kill is still probably one of the biggest, unfortunately, problems with the game because of how much that affects the new player learning curve. So, hopefully, I don't know. I'm really curious to see what they'll do with Warcaster because, on the one hand, yeah, Warcasters are really cool, but they're one of the, not to be controversial, but one of the worst parts about playing War Machine as a game, because it doesn't make it feel like an army. It doesn't make it feel like a war game, okay? And so if you're playing Warcaster and then they're like really focusing on that, I hope that they aren't focusing on the weakest parts of War Machine to make a whole new game. That's my fear, but I'm really hopeful, and I think it could be really cool, and I like the idea of a sci-fi theme, so I'm looking forward to it. With trepidation. As I look forward to everything with trepidation anymore. Because
I think it would be really cool to build your own Warcaster, create your, sort of make it your own and kind of play with the abilities and stuff. And yeah, I think with that game, I think they were talking about you build your own battle too, like your Warjacks and stuff too. Do you know?
I don't know. There was some recent information released that Patrick was mentioning in the chat, and I haven't kept up on it. I've been like out of the loop the last couple of weeks, so evidently I missed something. So let's see.
You know, I was going to ask you too, like what games are you playing right now? I know you still play War Machine, but what else are you into?
So I've been doing some of the, I actually got really into the IKRPG for a while, which I have recorded and is in post, so, you know, people have heard me say that for a while, but this last year, from January through May, I actually recorded an entire series of the IKRPG.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and then been getting into Dust 1947, the Dust Tactics game. There's a huge Infinity meta here. I like the people, but I just haven't been able to get into the game, but I do like Aristea, so I'll play that sometimes. Space Hulk, classic, getting into that. And then too much World of Warcraft.
We are going to have Dust.
I saw that. I saw that on the website. Oh, shit. Model casualty. You're fine, little Fenris. You're tough, right?
Hang on, let me pick you up off the floor.
You got...
You're dusting off. You're fine.
Yeah, what? You're sitting on a dead horse. I don't think I'm too worried.
Oh, now you're afraid to get dirty, right?
Well, he does have very white pants at the moment. I'm going to have to put some Agrax Earth shade on that.
Man.
So, yeah, we've got about 5 minutes left before the stream is over. So you should talk a little bit more about old Indy Storm while I attempt to get a dry brush done.
Okay, well, the best thing I could say is for most of the information, like I said, if you're looking for pricing, go to indystorm.net and then click on the registration button. It'll take you to the tabletop events page, and you can see all the information there. It's got the rates, it's got all, you know, like, and the things that we're adding. You know, I would say keep checking back too, because we're probably going to be adding more stuff here over the next couple weeks at least. So. Yeah, so stay. You know, we post a lot on Facebook as far as like the different groups, different ads. So I would say pay attention to, you know, see if there's any particular events that strike you, and if you have any questions, just hit us up on the website, and we'll answer whatever we can. So we look forward to having everybody come who can, and look forward to making this thing bigger every year. So. And
where's this website? What address? I have a link in the description as well, but you just say it.
The indystorm.net?
Yeah, Indystorm, INDY, right?
INDY, storm.net, yes.
All right, so, and I'll be there, and I might be in a team tournament for War Machine if people get drafted to be part of my team. And
Oh, see there, you could create like an application process and get the best teammates possible. I'm telling you, you need an engineer on your. That was my only goal.
Engineer,
Win
huh?
a team tournament.
Quick, go. Well, all you had was a spy. That's apparently the real way.
Yeah, that too. That'll help.
So, if you're a spy, you go to the top of the list, clearly. And, yeah, that'll be fun. All right, well, I look forward to it. And then there's a 40K representation, and you said Malifaux representation. And,
Malifaux, yep. Mm-hmm.
And Dust, which I look forward to. Did you ever play Dust?
I have not. I did see it. I saw it at a 40K. There was a 40K tournament locally that I went to. I was just checking things out, and there was in the back tables they had a couple of Dust games going. So we got someone dedicated to running that specifically. So
it's been a bit more my speed. All right, I got to dry brush the little bird heads on the edge of his cape because his cape has bird heads attached. This child is disturbed. Just gonna say.
Wow.
Unfortunately, sorry folks, you won't get to see me painting his nipple rings tonight, but maybe in the future. Unlikely. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you hanging out and plugging and inviting me to this event. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to 2020 and all the new conventions, and it seems like it's going to be an interesting year.
Yeah, we'll get to hang out and play some game. I'm sure we'll get to play against each other.
We should definitely go see a movie as well, so we can talk about it for 14 hours, because I don't really get a whole lot of people to do that with.
Yeah, it's all me, my friend.
I understand. Don't worry, Samuel, more Space Hulk will be coming. I am fighting on getting that done. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So anyway, thank you to everybody who hung out in the stream. Definitely check out indystorm.net. And Eric, again, thank you for joining me, and thanks for watching me paint up little Fenris here. We got some progress. I was distracted a lot. That's good. I hope you guys made some progress too. So we'll see you next week. Have a great night, and bye.
See ya.